Okay, so for the rate of descent on a 3-degree glide slope, it's 10 times the ground speed divided by 2. If you're going 120 knots, multiply that times 5 is 600 feet per minute is the answer. How far out do you start a descent on a 3-degree glide slope? Well, you take your altitude to lose and divide it by 300. So if you're at 6,000 feet, or if you're at 6,000, you have 6,000 feet to lose when you start your descent 20 nautical miles out. So 6,000 divided by 300 equals 20 nautical miles. Convert your climb gradient from feet per nautical mile to feet per minute. Feet divided by nautical mile requirement times nautical mile per minute. Descent point requires 300 feet per nautical mile climb. Your ground speed's 120 knots, which is 2 nautical miles per minute. 120 knots divided by 60 minutes is 2 nautical miles per minute. 300 times 2 is 600 feet per minute. Area navigation for RNAV. It allows navigation on any desired course and does not require flying to or from any ground facility. The types are GNSS, Global Navigation Satellite System. In the US, it's called GPS. In Europe, it's called Galileo. In Russia, it's called GLONASS. Also, VOR DME with RNAV, DME with RNAV. Inertial Reference Unit, Long Range Navigation, LORAN. Required Navigational Performance, RNP. A Statement of Required Navigational Accuracy, so for RNP, a statement of required navigational accuracy at a given airspeed and of an available aircraft capability. Aircraft capability plus level of service equals access. En route is RNP 2.0, in parentheses, 2 nautical miles, accuracy of 95% of the flight time. Terminal and departure RNP is 1.0, 1 nautical mile, accuracy of 95% of the flight time. And approach RNP is 0.3, so 0.3 nautical mile, accuracy of 95% of the flight time. RNAV VNAV provides vertical navigation guide. Published RNAV routes include Q, flight level 180 to flight level 450, and T, 1200 AGL to 1400 MSL routes, and are designated RNAV 1 unless charted otherwise. MRB is the magnetic reference bearing, the published bearing between 2 waypoints on an RNAV GPS or GNS route. Last but not least, Global Positioning System. GPS, Global Navigation Satellite System operated by the United States. The constellation consists of a minimum of 24 satellites, with some spares orbiting around the Earth at 10,900 nautical miles. The system is designated so that at least 5 satellites are in view at any given location on Earth. The time lapse between the transmission broadcast, as obtained from the atomic clocks on the satellite, to the time it was received by the aircraft receiver is translated into distant pseudo-range. Using one satellite, the aircraft could virtually be on any point on a sphere surrounding the satellite with a calculated pseudo-range in the sphere's radius. The GPS receiver uses an intersection of spheres from multiple satellites to calculate the aircraft's geographical position. So course and speed data are computed from the aircraft position changes. Airborne GPS units use Great Circle courses for navigation. GPS CDI deflection shows distance of course in miles, unlike a VOR CDI, which reflects an angular distance of course in degrees. At least 3 satellites are required for 2D position, latitude and longitude, and at least 4 satellites are required for 3D position, latitude, longitude, and altitude. RAIM, Receiver Autonomous Integrity Monitoring, is a function of GPS receivers that monitor the integrity of the satellite signals. RAIM requires a minimum of 5 satellites, or alternatively 4 satellites plus an altimeter input baro-aided RAIM. To eliminate a corrupt satellite, RAIM needs an additional satellite, total of 6 or 5, plus barometric aid. A database loaded into the receiver unit contains navigational data such as airports, nav aids, routes, waypoints, and instrument procedures. An IFR certified GPS may be used to substitute an ADF or DME, but not for NDB approaches without a GPS overlay or without an "or" GPS in the title. And check GPS notice before the flight and use RAIM prediction if available on your receiver. Differential GPS, DGPS, improves the accuracy of GPS by measuring errors received by references stations, also known as geographic locations, and then broadcasting those errors to supported GPS receivers. This is known as WAAS, WAAS, Wide Area Augmentation System. So the WAAS, errors are broadcast back to the satellite and from there to the airport equipment with GPS WAAS receivers, covers a wide area, allows for APV approaches such as LPV, LNAV, and VNAV. And LASS is a Local Area Augmentation System, where errors are broadcast via a VHS to the loss-enabled GPS receivers. It's more accurate than WAAS, but it covers a smaller geographical area, and it allows for Category 1 and above approaches if equipped.